Today is the day that we assemble the spa robe so that it actually looks like this. Running over what we've done so far, back view, and the back neckline was finished when we knitted the back, so we're all done with that. And in the most recent movie, we knitted in the sleeve like this. So the sleeve is already sewn into the armhole. We now need to sew several seams, and I recommend the mattress stitch seam. I'm not going to show it in this video because I already have 3 videos on the subject. And I recommend that you look at one of those because they were done in solid colors meant to make it easier to see what I was doing. I will add them to the playlist for the spa robe, even though they are not actually showing the spa robe, so that you have easy access to them. I will also place these individual links in the program notes. If you have any trouble with it, I recommend watching them all because they're from different angles on different projects and different lighting, and I talk about it slightly differently every single time. This drawing is not to scale because I want it to fit on the screen, but we already have the front and the back sewn together. We did that in order to knit the sleeve in. Because we started the sleeve by hanging the garment to sleeve seam is also complete. Now we need to sew the garment front and the garment back together along these dotted lines. That will be the side seam of the garment. You'll do it once on each side. Next, we'll sew the 2 edges of each sleeve together. That leaves a little hole in the underarm area, which we close by sewing the adjoining piece of sleeve to the area where we bound off stitches when shaping the front and the back of the garment. This spot gets sewn together and this spot gets sewn together, but this is more what it will look like because we already have the side seams of the garment and the underarm sleeve seams completed. When those areas are sewn, the top of the side seam and the top point of the sleeve seam should align. Next, we need 2 really big snaps. I use 1-inch Dritz snaps, and we're going to sew them on very securely in these positions. If the robe is for a woman with a large bosom, you may want to lower the position from the exact point where the shaping begins to 2 to 2.5 inches lower. Here I've padded the dress form, given her a larger bust, so I can explain. Her snaps are actually here rather than here. This lady needs that because she's extra long down this dimension, though she is of average height, because of the greater amplitude of the bust curve over average. Placing her snaps here would be obvious, uncomfortable, and very unflattering. This is the first pair. Half of it goes on the private side of the fabric, half on the public side, positioned where the underlayer touches the outer layer, as it naturally falls with the front wrapped closed. The second pair is positioned here. When the snaps are correctly positioned for the wearer, they'll be hidden underneath or very near the belt. Their purpose is to keep the lower edge neatly aligned. Wrap robes can tend to have the layers shift as we walk and the inner one hang down, and we can just put a stop to it. Adding these snaps keeps it nicely aligned so it looks better and it gives you better coverage. To knit a belt for the robe, cast on 10 stitches and knit using main stitch size until the resulting cord is twice the length of the wearer's waist. Then bind off. The knitted strip will roll itself into a cord shape. The robe really isn't finished until it's washed and dried. That's because the fabric needs to loft and also assume its permanent size and shape, and the hem ribbing needs to relax. Here's how it looks in the finished pattern, hanging nice and straight. Here is the same hem on the sample prior to washing. Washing relaxes the 2x1 ribbing so that it does hang straight and smooth. The written version of this pattern is available on Ravelry. There's a link to it in the program notes. It contains a king and queen size that's not included in the video and multiple options for knitting the sleeves differently. Different sizes, different lengths, top to bottom, bottom up. I hope you've enjoyed knitting your spa robe and will wear it for years. You might even find that these make good gifts for your friends.